Hello ladies and gentlemen, I am going to share something controversial with you today. You may turn off my video and get mad at me and send me nasty messages in YouTube. I'm John Laspina, I'm the carnivore teacher. I believe in the proper human diet, and I get angry from time to time when I see things that are wrong, that people know it's wrong, but they sell it and peddle it anyway, and they're hurting people. And one of them is diabetic doctors. If you're a diabetic and you're going to your doctor, type 2 diabetic, going to your doctor and the doctor tells you, here is a list of food that you can eat, and on that list is a lot of healthy whole grains. Eat these grains, and here's your insulin, and measure your blood glucose with this meter and give yourself this much insulin to match this much carbohydrates that you just ate. Oh, that angers me, because that's such malpractice in my opinion. It's like a doctor telling an alcoholic, here, drink this shot of whiskey because you can have about that much and that's okay. But then here, take this pill to counteract that whiskey. You know, they actually have a pill for alcoholics to take so that they have an aversion to alcohol. It's a crime, in my opinion. You don't tell a type 2 diabetic to eat carbohydrates and then put the insulin in. That's criminal. That's so terrible. That's horrible. That's like telling a heroin addict, here, shoot up this amount of heroin, but then, take this much of this drug, which will counteract the heroin. I mean, why do the heroin to begin with? Right? Alcohol. Why drink the alcohol to begin with if you have a problem with it? Diabetics, you have a problem with your insulin resistance. Why would you purposefully eat all these supposed healthy whole grains when what is it? It's carbohydrate. What does carbohydrate do? It converts into glucose into your blood. So here, take this glucose and now shoot this insulin. The whole purpose is to not have as much insulin in your body. Insulin is the fat storage hormone. Insulin is there to tell the cells to open up to let the nutrition in, and your cells are resistant, so we're giving ourselves more insulin. Here, eat these grains so you can give yourself even more insulin. Oh, that angers me. So what should a type 2 diabetic do? Type 2 diabetic should do what I do and what you do if you're eating properly. It's what every human being who's breathing air and drinking water and eating food should do. And that is to eat the proper human diet, which does not include grains or sugar or carbohydrates in large amounts. Eat as close to zero carbs as possible if you're a type 2 diabetic, and eventually you will not be a type 2 diabetic anymore. Your cells will not resist the insulin at some point. Your hemoglobin A1C that is above 6.5 is going to come way down into the 5 range, possibly the high 4s, because you will become insulin sensitive because you're not eating carbs and sugar. Your body doesn't need that much insulin to push it into the... it's just, to me, it makes common sense. You don't have to be a diabetic. You don't have to be a person who has to eat so many grams of carbs so that they can measure their insulin. I know type 2 diabetics. I hate that I know this. And I don't know how to tell them, and I don't tell them because, of course, they close their ears because they, who am I? I'm not a doctor. They look at the food on the table. This is what they do. This is what their doctor taught them to do. Oh, I'm going to have this bread, and this chicken has breading on it, and I'm going to have these mashed potatoes, and then I'm going to have this big piece of cake for dessert. So, and they do a little math in their head, and I need to have so many units of insulin. So they shoot the insulin in their body, and then they eat the food. That is not how it's supposed to work. And you will need more and more insulin because you're making yourself more and more insulin resistant, and it's a vicious cycle. That person should take that table of food and say, what can I eat on this table now? Not the mashed potatoes, not the dessert, not the bread. I'm going to pull all the breading off of this chicken, scrape it off, and I'll eat the chicken. I'm not going to have this high fructose corn syrup drink or soda or juice. I'm going to have water with electrolytes in it. Maybe I'll put a little drop of lime in there or lemon to give it some flavor. I'm going to eat some meat. I'm going to eat some bacon. I'm going to have some eggs. There's so much we can all eat. We don't need the mashed potatoes and the grain and the breading and all the stuff that is carbohydrates that made some people type 2 diabetics. Did you know you're not born and you don't inherit type 2 diabetes? That's something that you do to yourself through chronic excessive carbohydrates and sugar consumption over a long period of time. You've made your body very insulin resistant and you're a diabetic now. You don't need more insulin, you need less insulin. And for less insulin, you eat no carbohydrates or very, very low. Now, I'm not talking about type 1 diabetes. That is different. You still can benefit by not eating lots and lots of carbs and sugar. There's less insulin you need to give yourself for that. You need insulin for the protein, and you need insulin for any carbs. But you don't need to add all these carbs, type 2 and type 1. You don't need to eat carbs. And if you're not type 2 or type 1 diabetic, you're just insulin resistant, which I don't know what the number is, but I believe it's up there. Over 40 or 50% of people walking around the planet don't know that they're insulin resistant. And I think it's like in the 80%, 80 or 85% of people are obese. Obesity comes from fat cells that are generated from too many carbs and sugar. The liver makes that and deposits it around the organs and the rest of the body. So eat the proper human diet and avoid all of that. Beef, lamb. I love my lamb loins, lamb chops, lamb shoulder. Pork, bacon is my favorite pork, but every once in a while I'll have pork chops and pork loin. And poultry, that means you can have the chicken wings, you can have chicken legs and thighs and any parts of the chicken. The skin is delicious. Eat the fattiest part of the chicken, by the way. Don't eat just the breast. Ugh, that's boring. When I have just chicken breast, I add tons of butter and ghee in my bite, so it tastes better. Turkey, duck, quail, pheasant, if you're a hunter. The eggs of the hen, the eggs of the quail, the eggs of the duck. You ever had duck eggs? They're so creamy and meaty and delicious. All right, there's pasture raised, absolutely healthy. Everything in that egg makes a chicken, or makes a duck, or makes a quail. All right, it's a superfood. And you eat that, your human body absorbs all the nutrition, like 95% bioavailable, versus plants, which are like 8 to 12% bioavailable, if you can even get anything out of it. It's all locked up in the fibers and the anti-nutrients. Be a carnivore, be a ketovore, be a keto eating person. Be human and eat properly. See why it's worded this way? Be a human and eat properly. I don't like the word diet. It's a way of eating. Diet means your food, I know, but make it your way of eating. I just don't like to confuse people. Go on a diet, go on this diet, go on that. It's not a diet. If I were to reword this shirt, Dr. Berry, I would say the proper human way of eating, because I know what diet is and you know what diet is, but it confuses people and they think it's a Jenny Craig thing. It's not. It's a way of eating. So I would design this differently, but I still love the shirt because I want to use it to explain to people. I want people to come up and talk to me and ask me questions. So I invite all my listeners, by the way, if you would like to comment on any videos that I make, ask me questions, argue with me, refute me, ask me about a topic that I will do. If you ask me to make a video about a certain topic, I'll research it and I'll do a video. So have a good day, everybody.